Welcome to the third Endgame recap. Thanks for sticking along. It's February 14th, 2025. How's it going? You playing the video games, or are you just someone who loves the sound of my voice? Or are you my mother listening in because you just need to support your son and everything he does because you're a wonderful person? Hey, Mom, how's it going? My mom, ladies and gentlemen, is a recent gamer. Well, she has been the whole time that I've known her, my whole life. But she's recently jumping into Forza, and playing that all the time. We have a rig at home that was generously donated by a friend of mine, and she's been playing a lot. So if you have any tips for her, write me a little note. Catch me on all the socials, all that stuff. What would you tell my mom, who's recently coming back into gaming, into driving games on Xbox with a steering wheel rig, with foot pedals, all that stuff? What would you tell her? Let's give her some advice. Let's rally around this newish gamer. She's really good too. You should see her getting locked into the game. You know how when you play a game that you really enjoy and everything just kind of goes away and you go into the zone? That's her. One of the first times when she sat down to play it, she just immediately got it. So I don't know if I get my gaming skills from her, my dad, maybe both, but it was a lot of fun to see. So good job, Mom. Everybody clap where you're at. If you're doing your dishes, dry your hands and give a clap, or just clap with your hands as they're wet. Get the water everywhere. Get your significant other pissed off at you. All right. We got a good amount of news today, but I gotta say, I was watching YouTube videos last night, and I got a lot of ASMR stuff in my algorithm, and this one video came up in my feed, and I promise it's related to video games. We'll connect the dots in a second, but it was a guy who does camping videos, and I don't watch these types of videos, but he was sitting in his 1970s camper. The initial video shot was outside of his camper, I believe, and then it goes to the passenger seat, and he's sitting in the driver's seat, and he says, "Welcome to this camping video. Here's what I'm going to do, blah blah blah." And then he describes this camper in great detail. It's in 1970s, blah blah blah, so and so, and you look at the guy, and he's dressed like Leisure Suit Larry, the video game, which, if you don't play that game or you don't know games very well, it's like, imagine 70s sleaze, like bell bottoms. He's not the best looking guy, I guess, but he's got frilly hair, mustache. He kind of looks a little sleazy, but I think he's leaning into that aspect. So, I kept watching this, and it was cozy. And he was just explaining all the different parts of the camper, what makes it unique, how vintage it is, how it still has board games up in a cupboard. It has this blanket on a couch that looks like it's from the 70s. The whole thing looks like a time capsule, and he really leaned into it with his outfit. And as the video goes on, he's cooking what is it? He's eating fondue. He's eating fondue on the stove and just kind of talking about the camper and talking about fondue. And then he goes to his meal, and he's like, "Oh, it's hamburger helper." And it cuts to outside, it cuts to different parts, and he's explaining more while things are cooking. So I imagine he's cooking, he's securing all his footage, he's walking around, he's nailing this whole video out in one day. And he gets back inside, and at one point he pulls the casserole out of the oven, and he opens it up, and he looks over his shoulder to the left at the camera, and has this consternation in his face, and he says, "It's a little runny." So cut to many different segments of him checking in on this thing, and it's runny, and he tries to thicken it a little bit, and he eats it, and it just looks awful. But he's happy, and it cuts to him also watching I think one of his own YouTube clips or videos on a small black and white scrambly TV using a VCR. And it's just lovely. And what I wanted to say is it's so nice to see this genre emerge from YouTube. It's been, people have been doing this for a long time. But I think its popularity these days is because people like to see that life exists, right? No matter how bad things are, people are enjoying life. They're doing things that they want. They're being themselves. And there's something very, very comforting about that. And I wish we could have more of those games everywhere. And I don't know how to do this. And a few years back, Netflix, I think it's Netflix, introduced something called slow TV. And it would be like ASMR type of things, like a train ride that's 8 hours, and they do it in real time, and it's shot completely from like the front of the train. Can we have that? There's a game that I've played, it's called web fishing, and it's more like a chat room, and you just fish. And sometimes you get rare things, sometimes you get cosmetics, all that. But I really think that we need more of those games, more games to hang out in. People use Fortnite for that. People use a lot of these big games like Dota and League of Legends, and there's research that shows that. People have said it. You might have a game that you go into when you're just feeling bored, but do we really need objectives? Maybe what we need is just more open spaces where people can hang out in a video game, like the bar, like something like that. I don't know what the solution is, but I really think that there's something missing in games culturally. Maybe it exists, and we just need more people to be drawn to it. Maybe we're on the cusp of one of those games breaking big. And I know you can say that Roblox is something like that, and they have a lot of that, but it's different with Roblox culturally, I don't think there's going to be a lot of people my age jumping into something like that. So, missed opportunity, investors. Hello, come on. So I felt good about that. And I'm happy I did, because all week I've been thinking about something I've wanted to talk about on this podcast. And I thought, it's just horrible. I need something to balance it out. So that was the balance. And the second thing I want to say is, isn't LinkedIn consistently one of the worst platforms? Just awful. One of my friends and mentors and former bosses told me once that next door will make you hate your neighbors. And I think LinkedIn will make you hate your quote unquote colleagues, maybe not your direct colleagues, but people in the professional space. I see a lot of good stuff on there, and I follow a lot of great people, but sometimes the real toxicity leaks into the sludge leaks into my feed, and it's upsetting. And sometimes it's via people that are suddenly mask off. If you're not familiar with that term, that means a lot of bad is happening in the world, and a lot of people have revealed themselves to be who they really are, and maybe they had a facade on before. So long story short, I saw some people described leader in video games. Like this one guy said his bio underneath his name, which you can have in LinkedIn, like mine says a ginger, which is stupid. A lot of people put like, social media professional, creative director with 20 years of that type of thing. This guy just says like a leader in the video game industry. And he was talking about how censorship happens and how I'm just going to be blunt here, how grifters in the gaming industry, he didn't name them as grifters, but he named them as their names. He said, these people are now being blasted by the mainstream media and are being censored because they're speaking it like it is and all this. And some of the people that he mentioned that are speaking it like it is are people that actively hate women, actively hate people of color. One of these influencers gets a lot of views, like 30, 40,000 concurrents on the regular. Every video they put out gets like 1 million views. And this creator at one point built their career in multiplayer games, isn't very good at games, seems to hate games, talks bad about games a long time. And for every trailer that comes out that features a woman, it's like DEI, their chat goes wild. But this creator once said that they would like to go out to the ICE immigration raids and deportation, whatever, as a Dr. Phil type celebrity and draw more attention to it. And they said, like, wouldn't that be awesome? Wouldn't that be cool? Oh, that'd be great. How do I get to be a part of that? And there's so much genuine, objective hatred in these individuals. And it's at a scary time when a lot of people in the gaming industry are showing that having mask off moments. They are bullying, and it's just not fun to see these things, and it's not fun to see the mass amount of support they get in this industry. I think when it comes to something like this, what would Mr. Rogers think? Is there anyone that has ever existed that is more on the right side of history than Mr. Rogers? Let's be real here. Now, if you're saying something and doing something controversial, such as maybe civil rights leadership marches, that type of thing, I feel like Mr. Rogers would be for that. Equality, kindness, respect, just equality in general. But some of these gamers who preach hate get a lot of support in my industry, and it really rattles me. And I don't know. There's not much of a point there to say, I guess. It's more like it's just an ongoing thing that we have to be frustrated about on these platforms. And another thing I've seen is those types of people telling lots of people of color, it seems, to how to protest, and talking about politics or talking about race on LinkedIn is not appropriate. White people telling people of color how to protest. Tale as old as time, right? But it's hard to see these things always be a part of my industry, the industry I love so much. But it's always a grim reminder that people are going to be people no matter where they are. So, yeah, be careful. What else has been going on this week? Oh, yeah, I've been streaming. Here, I'll give you guys an update on the transparency of like what's working and what isn't with my social media for this new account, this @RealGood there. We'll go into the gaming news in a bit, and if you come just for that, give me some feedback and let me know that you don't like this segment. You don't like these reflections. But every platform is treating it differently right now. The three main platforms we're pushing content out on are Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. YouTube seems to really love Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 clips, medieval game, very realistic. We're posting a lot of scenes from the games and kind of like interactions that I have in the world. Those are doing pretty well. The long form content is a little bit harder, but I'm definitely seeing lots of links from shorts heading on over to the main content. So that's good. Everything that's as can be expected. TikTok, it seems like lots of shorts with like my face expressing something do well over there, but nothing's really standing out besides Kingdom Come as well. Horror stuff did not play well. Marvel Rivals content is just kind of mid. On Instagram stories, on the other hand, Marvel Rivals content is just exploding. It's by far my most consistent view driver. Everyone seems to love that content there. So those are the games I've been playing this week. I played one game the other day called, I think it was like Dank 420 Blaze It, or Blaze It 420. It was a really funny first-person shooter. I posted some clips. I got some more banked. I got the full gameplay thing I'm going to throw up sometime. That was a lot of fun. It's nice to see a game take the piss out of meme culture, pop culture, gaming in every way. And Kingdom Come, still playing that. Marvel Rivals ranking up. We've reached almost silver tier 1. You start at the bottom of that one. There's no placements, I learned. So having lots of fun with that. And there's so many games in the queue. Everybody, if you're looking for a game to play, reach out to me. Oh yeah, next week is Avowed. That's going to be coming out. So we're going to be playing some of that, putting up some clips, and I can't wait. Is it going to be as good as Skyrim? We'll see. It's supposed to be. Everyone's like, oh, it's a Skyrim killer. Is that a fair comparison since it came out like 15 years ago? Probably not. But I'm just hoping for a good enough game I can sit and get immersed in, right? That's it. I already saw some people angry that reviews were 7. I saw people happy that reviews were 7. I saw people condemning a lot of the reviews. I saw people who said IGN reviews don't matter, posting the IGN review and saying, I can't believe they rated it so low. I know for many of you this is gamers being gamers, but it's just always funny. All right, so switching tone here. Let's go back into... Oh, here, yeah. I had a quote here in the news list that I wanted to share about that toxic streamer. Someone said, all these people are either teens, children, or loser basement dwellers that don't have kids. No sane mother or father would spend time in that person's chat. LOL. It's kind of true. It's kind of true. I see people like that. I actually see, on the other side, I see people with families as their profile pics support these individuals, which really makes me concerned for their kids very seriously. You don't want to see a maniac spouting anti-DEI, anti-POC, anti-women nonsense in a chat. If they're a parent, that's really concerning. Okay, the news, everybody. Here we go. We're going into it. So more about Marvel. All right, let's try that again. Woo! Okay. Speaking of Marvel Rivals, it's ditching its controversial reset after fans freak out. So a new season of Marvel Rivals is coming out. And then we're going to do a mid-season rank reset, which means that, you still have to climb the ranks again after all that resets. Mid-season. It's not a good idea on paper. Realistically, it's not. If I was at that company and they said, well, here's what we're going to do, I'd raise my hand and say, absolutely not. Absolutely not. That is a terrible idea. It's going to get us a lot of negative feedback. It's going to be bad. How do these things happen, Kyle? Well, at a developer, it could be happening one of two ways. It could be a collective disagreement, with there could be a whole department of the company could be thinking, let's do this. We need to do it because of financial reasons. If we reset the rank, people are going to play more. That's going to draw more attention to the cosmetics or some of the things that we want in the shop, and we want that spike. They may have other reasons. It may be someone at the top that says, no, this is what we need to do, whereas 99% of the staff could be saying, don't do it. It's just the way it works sometimes. But I just want to point to this being a really funny instance in our culture of leadership creating a mess. And then when people say, we hate this mess that you've created, the leadership fixes the mess and says, you're welcome. And they go, oh my God, thank you so much. We love you. That's what this feels like a little bit. They created a problem. Fans got really mad. They switched gears very quickly. And then I saw on LinkedIn, people saying stuff, and even like on Reddit and stuff like that, like this is a company that listens to its audience. Kinda? I mean, yes, but they also created the problem, and you stated it very obvious that it was very obviously a problem. So I don't know. I don't think this is as big of a W as I've been seeing LinkedIn lunatics calling it. But good on you, I guess. Marvel Rivals. No offense to the people in my friends list that work there. I'm sure you had nothing to do with it. All right, so here's a big one that happened that flew under a lot of people's radars, and I don't think Valve is getting enough attention for it. It says, I'm going to read this on Kotaku because it's kind of fun. It says, if you, like most people on Earth, are a frequent mobile gamer, you'll be all too aware of the bane of in-game ads, because the freemium model proves by far the most successful way to release games on telephones. You pay by sitting through agonizing ads with fake countdown timers, X buttons that don't close anything, and faux interactivity designed to trick you into tapping through the store. Valve has now made it abundantly clear that anything like this on its PC store means an instant ban, which is great, right? You don't want to be duped into getting this free-to-play game that has in-game ads. It just adds friction. It's just a pain. And honestly, these things should not have existed in the first place. I know it opened the door for a whole new audience to play games, but could we have figured something else out? I don't need to see ads for Doritos or something really off the wall like insurance or something while I'm playing a game. It's just bizarre. And that's how it is on mobile. It says, this is what Valve said: developers should not utilize paid advertising as a business model in their game, such as requiring players to watch or otherwise engage with advertising in order to play, or gating gameplay behind advertising. If your game's business model relies on advertising on other platforms, you will need to remove those elements before shipping on Steam. So it says, the rules then say developers should not use advertising as a way to provide value to players, such as giving players a reward for watching or engaging with advertising in their game. So it sounds like you can still have advertising tied to in-game rewards, like us on Facebook or like us on YouTube to get something, which is fine. I think outside of it, it's always like Discord. I think Marvel Rivals, you can get an in-game skin or something in-game if you subscribe to their Discord. Fine, don't mind that at all. As long as it's not something vital. It's not pay to win. As long as you don't get something like that and you're better in the game. Here's a really weird news item that I didn't see anyone talk about, but I think this is a really big deal, actually. And, I'll just go into it. It says, Final Fantasy iOS game shuts down over unfixable bug. So, this game is no longer available in the App Store. It's available pretty much everywhere else. It says Android, PlayStation, and Nintendo Switch, but not in the iOS. And here's why. They said the issue is due to changes made to the in-app purchases model. Further investigation revealed that we are unable to completely fix the bug and implement the new changes, making it unlikely to resume service for the game. Square Enix says it started receiving reports on January 24th about the issue, which extends to the full paid version of the game. The company says that if you made in-app purchases in January 2024 or later, you're eligible to request a refund by contacting Apple support. So that's terrible. If it was unfixable due to like a back-end thing with the game, in a platform level, but because it's related to the in-app purchases model, I just think that's bizarre. I don't like that. I don't like how the mechanism for the game making money has affected the existence of the game. It's just bizarre. Here's one I want to touch on, maybe from a different angle than you've heard. Over the weekend, excuse me, the PlayStation Network was being down, so that meant that people couldn't log into any multiplayer games. They couldn't download any games. They couldn't update their games. They couldn't play games, like single-player games, that need an internet connection, which is a thing. So people were mad. It happened for like 24 hours, I think. It sounded like it was like an attack on them. A lot of people got really angry, though. They said things like, "We'll forgive you if you do something about it. I'll never forgive Sony for this weekend. I can't believe this has happened." Granted, the people that said trying to play a single-player offline game in 2025 and they couldn't log in, all those complaints, totally good. And who hasn't had a time when maybe they've taken time off from work, they've gotten home from a 9 to 5, and they kind of needed that outlet, They needed to play a game or get lost. For a lot of people, gaming is more than just gaming. It's a way to escape. It's their hobby. It's Sometimes it's their crutch in their time of need. I think there was a UFC fighter who said that Halo, like they wouldn't have made it out of depression without Halo or a dark time in their life. And that's true. But one thing I don't really like when people do in these situations is they start really going ham and attacking and, looking out for who works at Sony. Can I attack them? Is there anyone in IT at Sony? Can I find on LinkedIn or Twitter and verbalize my complaints in a very aggressive, friction-filled manner to them? It's stupid. It's so stupid. It's just grow up. Here we go. Here's another one. Speaking of growing up, don't we just love when billionaires fight billionaires or millionaires fight millionaires? Don't we just love when that makes the news? We care, right? Oh, we care. Oh, one day we're all going to be 9-figure people. One day. It's about to happen to me. So I can't wait to relate to these people. If you are some people who made it out in the video game industry as some of the richest people in the video game history, what would you do if you were one of those people? Would you play games all day? Would you F off, as it were, to the middle of nowhere? I would. I'd help everyone I know. I'd make better for everyone in my circle and beyond. I would live a friction-free life and just enjoy. Every day would be sunshine and rainbows no matter what happened, because I have the financial means to not worry about my next paycheck, or if there's going to be a roof over my head, or if there's food in my fridge. It'd be great. It'd be actually great. What you wouldn't hear me do is complain about video game CEOs and attack unions, because that's what Bobby Kotick did, ladies and gentlemen. He did an interview. He called EA and Unity CEO the worst CEO in video games. He attacked unions. He did all this stuff, and he talked about things that happened at Activision. It was terrible. It was classless. Like, let's call it for what it is. It wasn't just like, oh, it's weird that he did that. It's classless. Be classy. You made a lot of money off the backs of lots of people. Be grateful, but you can't. Same friend I mentioned earlier once told me something that I never, ever, ever forgot. And if this means that if we talk to each other, I'll probably remember something poignant you said. So say poignant things to me. Please. He said, at a certain point, I'm paraphrasing here, but at a certain point of wealth, you're not a good person because you're taking more than your share, or you've done things to attain that wealth that are a little bit morally in the darker side of gray, let's say. So, all right, billionaires, millionaires, maybe not our friend, not like us. Okay, so we're going to take a little break from the news. A little thought experiment or question to the audience. What's the worst side quest you remember doing? Think about it for a second. This was at Reddit. And what I immediately go to, and what I go to every single time something like this comes about, is this quest in World of Warcraft in the Barrens, where you have to escort what I believe is a mechanical chicken or maybe normal chicken an extremely long distance. So it's an escort quest, our favorite. Its pathing is jank. Lots of different things pop up. It didn't always work. And if you were Alliance, I think it was a neutral quest, like a Goblin quest. It was on the Horde continent, as it were. And you could get ganked by Horde players, and they loved doing it. And you didn't really get any like good rewards from this. You could just skip it and enjoy your life. But that's no fun. Who skips quests? So a lot of people would camp it, and it was an absolute damn nightmare. And I call it a side quest because you didn't have to do it for like your main missions and stuff. Other people said, this is a good one. Hey, do you mind bringing me 20 Nern roots? Do you mind bringing me 20 Nern roots again? Since we're friends now, how about 40? Here, go find 20 stones scattered throughout Skyrim. They aren't marked in the map. You either have to just know where they are or stumble upon them in a stroke of pure dumb luck. The reward? Something that makes it easier to farm money, which by the time you complete this side quest should be practically meaningless to you anyway. Yep, remember that one. Let's see. Other people said the RC plane mission in San Andreas. And then another person said, any escort quest ever? Yes, someone said it. Chicken escort quest in World of Warcraft, Daenerys and Hinterlands. Fuck that chicken. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Here's one. Not many people might know this. It says 200 lightning bolts. If you know, you know. Anyone? I'll give you I'll take a quick drink to get through, to let you know about this one. All right. In the game Final Fantasy X, or Final Fantasy X as some call it, in order to get a character's ultimate weapon, his name was Kimari, I believe, you had to stand in, or you had to avoid lightning bolts in this one section of the kind of near end game part. And the lightning bolts would happen at random. And in order to avoid them, I believe you had to hit the X button about like half a second before the lightning bolt hit. I think it was 200, yeah. So in order to get that lightning, or in order to get this weapon, you had to dodge 200 consistent lightning bolts without getting hit by one. So imagine that. You have to walk around this thing and be like ready, at the ready for 200 in a row. And they wouldn't happen like, it was like a few seconds in between. So we had to sit there, and it's not like you could do something else. You had to stare at the screen and wait for these lightning bolts, and nothing happens. It's very boring. If you stand in like one certain spot, it's a semi-reliable like rhythm to it all and rate, but it's still hard, and you still got to dodge 200. So it's not a side quest necessarily. It's more like just an extra thing, but I think because of how big of a pain it is, it deserves to be mentioned here. Terrible. Who does that? Why would you do that to someone? Why would you design that quest? Because you're trolling? All right. Well, fair enough. Okay. All right. Fair enough. I don't know if there's any truth to this thing. It's an article that was, it's one of those articles written about a Reddit post. So lots of journalism went into it, but I think it's a funny story, and I think it speaks to kind of where we are as a society. The headline says, her friend picks baby name that sounds like a video game character, so she laughs at how absurd it is. Now her friend is so upset that she excluded her from the baby shower. That's the headline. So, you know, it's a great site. Totally not clickbait. Here, it's really long, and that's about it. I'll just read it. It says, my best friend, I will call her Kay, is pregnant, and we've been friends forever, like since middle school. We've been talking about baby names for weeks, just throwing out ideas for fun. She even joked about some really insane names, and we laughed about how some people pick the most cringe stuff. So I thought we were on the same page about what was reasonable. Fast forward to a few days ago, Kay tells me they finally picked a name. And it's something straight out of Genshin Impact or Skyrim. Not the real name, but think Zephyr Rocket or Banjo Fox. I honestly thought she was messing with me, so I laughed. Not like a mean laugh, just a genuine reaction like, wait, shut up, what is the real name? But nope, that was the real name. She got super quiet and was like, that is the name. I could tell immediately I messed up, so I tried to backpedal, but she looked kind of hurt and changed the subject. Later, a mutual friend told me she was upset and thought I was being rude. Now, the real tea is that she had a small get kickback, I don't know what that means, with our group or friend group, and didn't invite me, like literally everyone else was there. Excuse me. I found out after the fact, and it's hard not to feel like it's because of the baby name thing. I really didn't mean to be rude. I just genuinely thought she was joking based on our past convos. Am I the asshole for laughing, or is she overreacting? This is my best friend. What do you think? I don't think she's the asshole. Friends should be able to call out friends, right? If a friend is having a terrible name for their kid, it's okay to be like, you sure about that? Are you really sure about that? Are you really, really sure about that? Now, my wife and I have discussed those types of names for, any spawn that we have, and they're semi-ridiculous, but a little grounded. A little grounded. Don't worry, Mom. Everything will be fine. But yeah, if your friend is coming out with something like, although, honestly, if my name was Banjo Fox, I think that's kind of dope. Like there's people out there named Bobby Joe. Is Banjo Fox really that much of a stretch? Zephyr Rocket. I mean, that's bad, right? That's like out of was it Zardoz with Sean Connery? Not the best name for a kid. Continuing on here with news, it says college football players sign agreement to be paid for likeness in video games. So that's been a big controversy for a long time. Like, how much should the college athletes get compensated? Like, can they get compensated because they're in college? Should they be? All this stuff. Like, if your likeness is being used, yeah, you should be compensated no matter what. It says several schools and players confirmed the meetings. Everyone met and discussed what it's going to be. Meetings and statements to Yahoo Sports, including Alabama receiver Ryan Williams, who said Pathway, this like a company that's specializing in monetizing athlete rights. Pathway is helping us get our fair share of royalties from $1 billion business driven by a video game that is loved around the world. As part of the agreement, each player is receiving $1,500 in an upfront payment. Royalty pay is also expected, but that structure is yet to be determined. It says it's about a total of 11,000 players at a cost of more than $17 million in upfront payments, or about $125,000 per school. However, that figure will likely exceed $20 million with a pool of millions set aside for ambassador payments to certain players. So, yeah, I mean, it's expensive to develop these games. It's expensive to get the rights, and there's much more to this thing. But they make a lot of money. I believe the NCAA football game I don't know if it outperformed Madden, but it sold a lot. It's an ongoing thing. So, yeah, there's something that's worrying though. It's the continual insistence on profitability and commercialization of post-secondary schools. It's worrisome. It's worrisome. If all these schools were free to Americans, I'd be a little less hesitant to embrace this kind of monetary exchange. Obviously, people do need to get compensated, but it's just the whole thing stinks like yesterday's diapers, to quote Baby Huey in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Just recently watched that, so it's not like I think about that quote all the time. Okay. Next one we got here. Unreal Engine dominates as the most successful game engine, data reveals. So Unreal Engine, how games are built. Really, they have these things called engines that run underneath it. Unity is one of them. Unreal Engine is another. CryEngine is as well as another one. It says, so there's this figure that it says right here. In 2024, number of games released in 2024 by Game Engine, number one is Unity at 51%. Number two is Unreal at 28%. And number three is Other, while Godot, Game Maker, and others are in the single digits. Now, all units sold in 2024 by Game Engine is a little bit different. 41% say Other, 31% say Unreal Engine, and 26% say Unity. So let's run that back again. 51% of games are released by Unity, but only 26% of sales are from Unity, while 28% of games released are Unreal, and 31% of units are Unreal. So very, very interesting. If you like data, there's a bunch of that. Just Google it. I'm not going to link you. It's happening. So before, last two items we got here, why video game stocks are dominating right now. It says video game stocks have surged in 2025, driven by anticipated releases like Grand Theft Auto 6. Also fueling investor excitement is the upcoming release of the Nintendo Switch 2. It says the Global X Video Games and Esports ETF has surged 12% year to date, quadrupling the S&P's S&P 500's 3% return over the same period. U.S. listed shares of Japan-based Nintendo have led the charge, surging 23% year to date. The gain has mainly been driven by the recent unveiling of its next-generation console, the Nintendo Switch 2, which is expected to be released in time for the holiday season. So it says, analysts at JP Morgan said the expected backward compatibility of the Nintendo Switch 2 should enable Nintendo to sell vastly more software titles than it was able to do with the original Nintendo Switch console. It estimates Nintendo will sell 190 million software units in the company's fiscal year 2025, with that figure ballooning to 272 million by its fiscal year 2029. And then it says, for Take-Two Interactive, the software developers' 16% rally to record highs this year was reinforced by the company confirming last week that it remains on track to release its highly anticipated Grand Theft Auto 6 later this fall. Analysts' expectations are high, considering that its predecessor, Grand Theft Auto 5, is the third best-selling video game of all time, with 210 million copies, behind Minecraft's 300 million units and 520 million copies of Tetris. So, yep, lots happening there. Can you hear the rain, by the way, in the background? Have you been hearing it, this whole thing? I think a windowsill might be leaking, so I got to end this podcast soon. All right, so I always like to end my podcast on a good note. And here's a really good one. I'm going to take another drink, getting all dry. We don't want that, ladies and gentlemen, do we? How you doing? You going to play some games over the weekend? I am. I'm going to play some Path of Exile 2. I'm going to stream some more Marvel Rivals. I'm going to play some more Kingdom Come and a bunch of indie games that I have in the queue. So all of you should go to twitch.tv/realgoodthere. Subscribe. youtube.com/realgoodtherehq. At realgoodtherehq, however YouTube does it. Go listen. Go watch. Go participate. Comment. Subscribe. Do all that stuff. Okay, last piece of news we got here. It says Minecraft is a digital playground for learning and growth. So speaking of Minecraft, as the second most or best-selling title of all time, I'm going to read this. Not much to this article. It says Minecraft is more than just a globally popular video game. With over 141 million active players, it has become a virtual space where children explore, create, and interact. Beyond its entertainment value, researchers at the University of South Australia have found that Minecraft plays a significant role in shaping children's development, social interactions, and cognitive learning. The study highlights how collaborative play within the game encourages teamwork, communication, and problem solving. As children engage with others in real time, they develop key skills that extend beyond the game. Minecraft is no longer just a pastime. It is a digital environment where young minds grow and evolve. As more schools integrate Minecraft Education Edition into their curricula, parents and educators need to understand how children interact within these spaces. The game presents opportunities for learning, but also includes challenges that require guidance and supervision. We're going to get into this a little bit here. Dr. Vincenza Tudini, a researcher at UNISA, believes Minecraft provides a valuable platform for creativity, learning, and social development. From what we see of children's interactions on Minecraft, it's far more than just a digital pastime. It's a virtual playground where children can develop problem-solving skills, collaboration, and language abilities, said Dr. Tudini. The game promotes pro-social behavior, with players often greeting each other and providing positive feedback during play. Unlike many video games that focus on scoring points or defeating opponents, Minecraft allows for open-ended exploration. This freedom encourages creativity and helps children build social connections as they navigate challenges together. Additionally, Minecraft contributes to language development and digital literacy. Whether they are playing, watching tutorials, or discussing strategies with peers, children absorb new vocabulary and communication skills. Funny that I slip up when I'm talking about vocabulary and communication skills. These interactions help them develop confidence in expressing ideas while improving their ability to collaborate effectively. One of Minecraft's strongest features is its ability to develop problem-solving and teamwork skills. The game presents obstacles that players must overcome using creativity and strategic thinking. Children often work together to complete tasks, whether constructing buildings, surviving in dangerous environments, or creating intricate in-game mechanisms. We also see many instances where knowledgeable players are actively guiding less experienced players through challenges. Such scaffolded learning supports creative thinking, motivation, and growth. And because it's peer-delivered, it builds team skills and confidence, explained Dr. Tudini. This peer-supported learning model allows experienced players to mentor newer ones, reinforcing their own understanding while helping others grow. As children navigate these challenges together, they learn valuable lessons about cooperation, patience, and leadership. Unlike traditional competitive games that focus on individual success, Minecraft fosters collective achievement. Players often set goals that require teamwork, such as constructing buildings or solving complex puzzles. These activities mirror real-world problem-solving scenarios, making Minecraft an effective tool for developing critical thinking and collaboration skills. And then some of the thing goes into balancing benefits with online risks, how players can support safe gaming, and then the Minecraft education and learning tools and all that. It's a very good article. Look it up. It's on earth.com. It says Minecraft is a digital ground for learning and growth, but send this to anybody who says video games are bad. Video games are all violent. Video games are all toxic, all that stuff. No, clearly not true. It's always nice to have something in the back pocket to defend this industry against people who, no matter what you tell them or no matter what you send them, are going to stick to their preconceived idea, and you'll just waste your time. But hey, sometimes it's fun to go through the motions, isn't it? Yes, it is. That was a tea drink and sigh. Well, that's it for me. I'm enjoying the rain here. So I think it's supposed to rain all weekend in LA. Not excited to go and run to the gym in the rain as it's literally downpouring. That'll be fun. But you got to get those gains, everybody. You got to put in the work. So thanks for listening. As always, I'm Kyle Stalick. This is the Endgame recap. I haven't figured out how to sign this off yet, or do a sign off. If you got any ideas, let me know. Maybe I can do random ones every week to see what sticks to the wall. All right, everybody. Thank you as always for listening, and I'll see you next week. Bye.